You are a US citizen. You go to the bank to cash a check, but they won't give you the money. You apply for an apartment, but they won't rent to you. You apply for a job, and you're actually the most qualified person, but they refuse to hire you. You're a US citizen, but you can't even prove who you are. Why? You're one of the millions currently living in this country without access to your identification documents.
Like most of us, I have never had a problem obtaining any of my identification documents, nor had I known anyone that had. That changed one Sunday when I met a homeless man at my church, and I asked him how I could help. He said, "Michael, I'm unable to get my ID. I have someone that's offered me a job, but he can't hire me without it." And I looked at him puzzled, going, "I've never heard of that issue, and I have no idea how to solve it." But I promised him right then and there that I would find out who does that in our community, and I would meet him back at our church that following week. Then I reached out to every social service organization and government agency in Central Florida, and none of them were able to offer me any assistance. I returned that next Sunday to church dejected, knowing that I had failed at my promise to help this man, but also inspired, knowing that I needed to do more. Shortly thereafter, in 2007, 20 individuals representing 5 downtown churches convened to solve the problem of US citizens not being able to access their very identification documents. We spent 6 months developing a viable solution, and we called it IDignity. The problem with access to legal identification is it inherently must be difficult to obtain in order to protect the integrity of the identity that these very documents represent. And while the solution cannot be to lower the barriers to access to identification, there must be an organization in place, such as IDignity, that can assist those individuals that cannot get over the barriers on their own. The number of Americans that are suffering from this plight is staggering. The most recent credible study estimates that 11% of US adult citizens do not currently possess a valid government-issued photo ID or driver's license. The consequences of not being able to obtain your identification documents are severe and unrelenting. These documents are often required to access education, employment, housing, social services, proper health care, and numerous other opportunities. Over the past decade, IDignity has assisted over 19,000 unique individuals in Orlando alone, and thousands of other individuals in the surrounding counties through affiliated programs. On average, we're able to assist a client in obtain all of their various forms of legal identification at a cost of just $250 and 4 hours of volunteer time. This success is attributed to exceptional collaboration, not only with numerous government agencies that are involved in providing these various forms of identification, but also all the other entities that have some evidence of your very existence, such as hospitals, schools, churches, former employers, and yes, even jails. IDignity occupies this unique space in the field of identification as a central knowledge hub that coordinates the collection of evidence that you are who you say you are, and equally important, that you are not.
IDignity realized that many individuals could not actually represent themselves to these government agencies to get their own IDs. You see, in order to get a document with your name on it, you probably should be able to prove that you are the person whose name is on that document. And so in order to get an ID, you need to have a birth certificate. But to get that birth certificate, you're going to need that ID. And finding themselves in a catch-22, they needed somebody to advocate for them. But instead of sending an advocate with each individual to each government agency to try to get these necessary documents, that would be very time-consuming and extremely frustrating for every person involved. IDignity instead decided to do something a little bit different. They decided to ask these government agencies to come to them. So one day each month, the local DMV is there to print out IDs right on site. The health department prints out birth certificates right there. Social Security Administration is there to meet with clients and order those cards. And 100 volunteers who are experts in applying for documents from all around the country all congregate into one room. Now, can you imagine what happens when you bring all of these people and all of this knowledge into the same place? Suddenly, they can finally collaborate together. And there's problem solving, and there's solution finding, and there's hope. And this is proven by how many individuals continue to enter the doors every single month. On a one day every month, 200 individuals line up outside, waiting for a chance to get their identification documents. It's 200 people who currently cannot prove who they are. And that's 200 people who are facing barrier after barrier simply because they don't have that one document. But beyond all of the logistics of what it takes to run an event like this, there's something that's even more crucial to IDignity's mission. You see, when these individuals tried to go to these government agencies and were turned away time and time again, it's extremely defeating. But when they come to IDignity, they're treated with dignity and respect. They're treated as important, not only by those 100 wonderful, good-hearted people who took off on a Thursday to serve them, but also by those very government agencies who up to now could not serve them. And so when these individuals walk away from our event, they not only can prove their name, but they also know definitively that they matter.
These clients now have legal proof of their very identity, and hence are able to fully participate in their very own society. The obtaining of these identification documents is often a transformative experience. In an instant, their previous life of hopelessness and dread changes to one of optimism and opportunity. 70% of IDignity's clients say the number one reason that they need their identification is to get a job. And get a job they do. Remarkably, 40% of IDignity's clients in our latest study were able to achieve employment within 1 month of obtaining their ID. IDignity's mission is essential. This is a national crisis, but one that we can actually solve. What IDignity is doing is we're not only providing the empowerment for individuals to help themselves, we're cultivating a society that is more inclusive, productive, and secure for us all. Thank you.